AI for email marketing is probably where, especially a lot of small businesses are going to see the biggest return. Email marketing tends to be where they spend the least amount of time and energy, but it can be one of the most fruitful channels.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Growth Mentors, the podcast where we share snackable growth hacks, strategies, and best practices in how to drive maximum marketing impact and grow your bottom line. I'm your host, Matt LeBlanc, and today we're going to be talking about how to use artificial intelligence to tailor your marketing efforts and increase revenue through personalized customer experiences, among other things. Zach Larimer is our guest, and Zach is the Director of Media Strategy at Jump 450. Zach started his career doing marketing for nonprofits, and he now leads the team at Jump in driving paid revenue goals for our clients through developing new and exciting ways to scale and test paid channels. Fun fact, he also plays the oboe. So let's get into it. What's up, Zach?
I'm doing well. That is, and will always be my fun fact at all parties. I play the oboe.
Oboe player. You also play like 4 other instruments, I think.
I don't like to brag. There's a list. There's a lot. We've got oboes. We have flutes. We have flutes from different countries. There's some saxophones. I like to keep busy.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about your current role and how AI is relevant to the work that you're doing with your clients?
Basically, my role is just to drive revenue for our clients. I work on almost all clients at Jump. And kind of act as like a consultant and go from account to account and figure out what's going right, what's going wrong, figure out new ways to test. And I have experience on like all paid channels, but my bread and butter has always been Google Ads. And I got started in Google Ads because I was a control freak and I liked all of the control. Like 5-10 years ago, you would have hundreds, thousands of campaigns with like tweaking little bids and like tweaking the bids on specific keywords by day. So I got into Google because I loved the control of everything, but that kind of segues into why AI is so important. In recent years, Google has continuously changed the game and shifted more of the strategies towards AI. So now my day-to-day is really figuring out what new change Google has made or these ad platforms have made to media buying, how AI is working, and figuring out ways that we can leverage AI to increase revenue.
Yeah, Google's become a bit of a black box, yeah?
Yeah. They are slowly moving to a system where there's just, one big campaign. Like they're always coming out with new campaign types. The big one of the last couple of years is Performance Max. And they're getting to the point where, you just connect your credit card directly to the ad account. They'll run everything for you and just don't ask any questions. So that's a big challenge to grapple with.
So for those of us who are not as familiar with all of the updates with AI and kind of innovations in that space, can you break down the basic types of AI and how you're using them?
Yeah, it's so funny because I feel like if a lot of people are acting like AI is some like new development in like the last like 6 months with ChatGPT, but it's been around for a very long time. I just now have people like my parents just like furiously texting me because they're playing with ChatGPT and they're like, this new technology, the machines are taking over.
I think I might also be one of those people.
Mm-hmm. The machines are taking over. Well, the thing is that the machines have already been taking over. There's a lot of more well-researched intellectuals in the AI space. But a lot of them are kind of classifying different AI tools as like predictive versus generative. And predictive AI, we as marketers have been using for years now. That is really within the platforms using like things like automated bid strategies. Instead of, what I was talking about before, like 5-10 years ago, where we were manually going in and adjusting bids. Now that platforms use AI to figure out what the right bid, what the right targeting, what the correct creative should be for each individual user. So that kind of predictive AI, like the systems using historical data to like find patterns and forecast future outcomes have been around forever. What is now more in the consciousness is just like generative AI. And that's something like ChatGPT, where you're putting in an input and you get some kind of creative output. So tools like ChatGPT and Midjourney are really, like I was saying before, it's not a new tool, but it's a new, more easily accessible like doorway in. So now all of us can just go in and play with the tools and get some kind of output.
So the predictive AI, you're saying we've been using that for a long time. The generative AI, how do you find yourself using that in your current role?
And so in terms of my day-to-day, like I was saying before, I jump around through a lot of different accounts, a lot of different industries, some of which I know a lot about, because as we discussed before, I have a lot of eclectic interests, but some I know nothing about. So really I use ChatGPT and all of these generative AI tools. It's kind of like a first draft. So if I'm on like a new account, a new industry, I'll just go into these tools, put in some prompts just to like give me some historical background of the industry. I've also recently been using it to write code. That is one of the most useful things for me. I am someone who cannot code, and there's all of these different tools and scripts that you can use to pull data out of Google Ads, and you've historically needed at least like a baseline understanding of code to do in like JavaScript and coding to do a little bit of that data export, and like a really in-depth knowledge of SQL to really QA and get what you want. But now because tools like ChatGPT have been, the model has been trained on coding, you can input, you can get it to write code, and use it to pull more data out of your campaigns. So that's really what I use a lot of in my day-to-day.
Absolutely. And just to add there, I think that we've been talking about this previously, but also super helpful in like generating first drafts. I thought that you made a really great point. I'm a creative director myself, but I thought that you put this really succinctly. Getting started with the creation of any project can almost be like a hump to get over, and AI can be like a really helpful tool and just kind of like getting over that initial hump.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't say that I'm a procrastinator, but it can be really hard to just sit down and like start writing new ad copy or like get new ideas. And that is one of the biggest use cases I found, especially for small businesses or creatives using ChatGPT. It's just getting that first draft, especially like, I mean, I feel like we're all, you and I especially, like our collaborators, we're very creative, and working from home, like we don't often have like an assistant, a second person to bounce ideas off of. So it's really easy just to go in, put some prompts, get like a general idea that you can then go in and refine, customize as you see fit.
So Zach, just getting into your mindset as a director of strategy, as a Google buyer, what is kind of like the upcoming roadmap for AI? What are the applications that you're excited to use?
Even as far as like a year, 2 years ago, my mindset was very much, I'm smarter than the machines. I don't need any of these AI tools. I've got it. I've got it on lock. But the performance just speaks for itself. Like when you're able to really understand how automated bid strategies, how these generative AI tools work, you just do get better performance out of your campaigns. So really in terms of my mindset going forward, I like to think about digital marketing and like what we do day to day in media buying, like broken up into like what we can control. And that's often broken down into like the audience, like who we're targeting, what the creative is, what ad platform we're using to reach users, and then control over our data. And really with AI, audience is kind of already taken out of our control. On Facebook and social channels, they talk a lot about broad targeting, just not doing any individual ad targeting of like age demo, just put a big broad audience and use the creative, let Facebook or Pinterest or whoever it is find the right user. The same is kind of true on Google now with keywords. We don't have thousands of keywords anymore. We put a couple to get the machine started, and then the platform finds the right user. So spending a lot of time on audience is not as relevant anymore. So really where we as marketers can focus more on is the data and figuring out what inputs we need to feed into our campaigns, to feed into the AI to get the outcomes we want. And I feel like actually ChatGPT has been a really good eye-opener for people, because with these big tech AI tools, so much of the AI was like in a black box. But with ChatGPT, you can really see how the model learns over time and how it gets smarter the more that you're prompting it. So I think that in terms of where AI is moving in the future and where marketers can adjust our day-to-day, it's going to be about figuring out how to train that AI to get better outcomes. What creative, what audience insights, what data segments do we need to put into the campaigns to get the outcomes we want?
I feel like a turning point will be when the generative AI starts saying, actually a better prompt to ask me would be this. And it's like, oh yeah, that's actually, maybe you should write the prompts also. And I'll deliver it.
That honestly would be great. It's already almost there. I have found myself getting frustrated with the AI. I was just working on like a new script to pull like a bunch of different like data sets from Google. And I was just kept getting errors, and I was getting a little passive aggressive with ChatGPT. I was just like kept going back to it, being like, I got a new error. Trying to fix it.
I try to be polite. I try to be super polite. I don't know about you. Even when I'm talking to my little like microphone in the corner of my house when I want it to just like play music for me or whatever, I'm trying to say please and thank you. Let's just like keep human rules. Basic people rules is what I'm trying to maintain.
Yeah, please and thank you. Very important.
So who should be using AI? Everybody.
Everybody. I mean, yes.
Is that the answer?
The answer is everybody. For a few different reasons. I mean, the results just do speak for themselves. Like I do talk to marketers who are just kind of like stuck in the ways of having like really tight controls over everything. And there are some cases where you do need to have tight controls, and maybe you don't have enough data, maybe you're starting out, like the human element and really just taking the machine out of it does perform better. But at scale, and for like 99% of businesses, using AI in marketing is just going to drive better results. So everyone should be using some form of AI just because it drives better results. The other reason why is because it's not a fad that's going away. AI just is here to stay. You don't necessarily need to be like the first adopter to transform your whole marketing strategy to only use AI. But I think if you are not playing around with it, figuring out ways you can make your life easier using AI, if you don't like catch that wave, it's just going to wash over you. So it's really important to like get on the boat now. Especially just because with AI, with some of these black box tools, it's now easier than ever for brands to start marketing. 10, 15 years ago, like you really had to have a lot of background knowledge in these tools and these platforms to even start spending on your marketing. And you still need that background knowledge to make sure you're doing it efficiently. But AI has really just opened the door for everyone to come into the auction and start spending money on paid ads. So that means that all of our costs, all of our ad costs are going up. Everyone's using AI. So figuring out how you now can use AI to get ahead of the curve and make sure that your campaigns are performing as optimally as possible is just going to benefit you in the long run.
Right. So there are obviously a ton of different applications and ways that businesses can use AI to drive revenue. We were going to focus on personalization today, kind of like the customer's journey. Can you speak a little bit on that?
Yeah, I mean, this is something that back to like predictive AI, we've all, for the most part, already been using in some form this idea of personalization, that you can use AI to serve the right ad to the right person at the right time. Before really ChatGPT and all these new tools coming out, we kind of had to rely on the tools that the ad platforms gave us. But now that things are more open source, people can create their own tools. And the tools coming out using AI for personalization, it's just a new one every single day. So I feel like that is definitely AI for personalization is going to be where marketing is going to continue heading in terms of AI. So using AI to personalize the content in the creative, for example, like starting with using AI to segment all of your customers, figuring out who has that higher lifetime value based on what products they've purchased, what emails they're interested in, segmenting those, and then using AI to create creative to speak to that customer. That is definitely where the future of AI is headed.
What about when we continue to kind of like work through that customer journey? What's sort of the next step? I know that we're also able to use AI in doing things with landing page generation, customizations, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's already a lot of AI tools for landing pages. I mean, people have been using chatbots for a while and seen success. Right. And now that the language processing is just so much more advanced, having a chatbot on your site to not only like mimic a person, but take the inputs that they're giving you, the questions they have about specific products, or even trying to find a product or service on your site and being able to generate it out is so impactful. That's going to drive really strong conversion rates. And also just using AI to change the content on the site or direct people to specific pages based on how they entered your site, what they're interacting with while you're on the site. That is crucial. And using AI for those kinds of A/B tests is only going to make it easier to get those tests started, but also continue to iterate on those results and drive better outcomes.
Definitely. Yeah. And then I think the other sort of optimization that I'm aware of is like to use AI for onboarding. Yeah. Once you've acquired a customer, had them fill out a certain quiz or questionnaire, that kind of thing, to gather a bit more information about them, AI can actually help in sort of customizing those emails that you're sending out to the customer and the way that you're communicating with them. Make sure that you're speaking most specifically to the things that they're interested in. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, exactly. I would say AI for email marketing is probably where, especially a lot of small businesses, are going to see the biggest return. Because I found working with businesses, email marketing tends to be where they spend the least amount of time and energy, but it can be one of the most fruitful channels. Most companies tend to just get an email list and you just send the same email to everyone in the list. But right. If you have an onboarding flow, if you're using AI, if you're having like a quiz funnel, getting that data on those users to then segment your list so you're able to send the right email to the right user, that is going to be crucial. And then once you have that email list, I mean, there's so many tools, even like within HubSpot or Salesforce, that similar to ChatGPT, you can put different prompts in of how you want to segment your users, and it'll spit out different lists for you and segments, and figure out, what's the highest probability, like the highest probability of users to convert right now, and focusing on those users with like a separate email campaign can drive huge results.
Zach, can you just real quick, what is your biggest pet peeve with AI at the moment?
Yeah, I don't know if it's my biggest pet peeve, but where I think there's still room to grow is just with like the quality of assets that are put out. And that's why I talk a lot with businesses, say like, can we just like hook ChatGPT up to our website and churn out like dozens and dozens of articles a day? You can do that, but A, the quality is not going to be that great. And B, really for AI to develop, we need to still be creating as humans. If everyone just starts using ChatGPT, like putting in a prompt, calling it a day, then it's just going to be training. The model's just going to be training of itself, and it's not going to grow. It's not going to progress. So in terms of creative right now, oftentimes when you use some of the tools and the platforms, like every app platform right now has and is coming out with like an AI generation, like an automatically created asset. And most of the time it doesn't look the best. It doesn't perform the best. It kind of just takes like a hodgepodge of different assets and sets it to like a royalty-free track that is not very enticing, and like throws it out into the world. So we're not there yet, I would say. But I do think it's going to get there. Like we're going to get to the point where with video creation, where we just give it a prompt and it spits out, 5 ads for YouTube, 3 ads for TikTok, which again is great for a first draft. But people should always be creating their own ads and continuing to test.
Yeah, it's this kind of double-edged sword, right? Because it's like it's very human to just become lazy. It really needs to be a back and forth with the AI. It needs to we need to keep that sort of fire burning in terms of creation, to be feeding and teaching the AI so that it kind of evolves in the right way. Or to your point, it'll just sort of be teaching itself and would become complacent. I don't know that much about what I'm talking about here. I'm kind of
no,
riffing,
that's right. That's right.
That felt right.
No, that was definitely right. And I mean, it's so funny because I see it all day on marketing LinkedIn and marketing Twitter. Every day someone is like, I have just created the best prompt. I spent hundreds of thousands of hours figuring out the best prompt. It is this huge paragraph. You put it in and it's going to give you immediately everything you've ever wanted. And those posts always get like so much engagement, so many comments, but I always like in the back of my head just think like, cool, you spent hundreds of hours doing this. You probably could have just like written the headline yourself. And
right.
We don't have to automate every single thing. And I think that trying to figure out like the perfect prompt, I mean, there's so many like marketing lead funnels right now of like people like trying to give us your email and we'll send you the 1,000 prompts that are the best prompts ever. Really to use AI and to do what I was talking about before of like creating your own tools, you have to kind of create your own like micro models and train it so that it is customized for your business. I mean, going back to like what can businesses do now to get themselves a leg up, I feel like that it's a function of Chat GPT that a lot of people haven't really been using, like the function of creating multiple chats. Because a lot of people just like put in a prompt and then they get a response and they move away from that chat, they go away. What I've been doing is, and a lot of other people are doing, is going back to those chats and continuing to train it, like ask it more questions. So I have different chats, different prompts based on different industries or different tasks. So I have like one that's knows what I want in terms of like Google Ads scripts, and there's another one that's more copywriting. So that's really the way that you can use tools to customize them for your own business.
Is there a resource or kind of a place that you find it trustworthy to be kind of finding new information about the things that are coming out? Or are there a couple places that you maybe look on the internet that we could all sort of start looking at to learn about the newest and most useful?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I get most of my AI news from Twitter and LinkedIn. There's one thing that marketers are, especially like tech savvy marketers, are interested right now. It's AI. So really, if you just go in and search AI, you'll find a lot of AI marketing influencers who just all day are posting things. So my feed is just curated with different tools specific to PPC marketing. And that's really where I get a lot of news. I'm not always like a big proponent of social media in my day-to-day life. But in terms of finding AI and news about AI, it's a great place to start.
Sure. Well, Zach, I don't want to hold you too long. I know you have an oboe practice you must get to.
Yeah, I have an oboe practice. I have a soccer game. I have campaigns to optimize. So thank you for being considerate.
Exactly. But thank you so much for spending some time with us today and sharing your wealth of knowledge here. This is Zach Larimer, the Director of Strategy at Jump 450. Thanks a lot, man. Have a great day.
Thanks, you too.
Please do not forget to subscribe to the podcast. And if you are looking to build your own world-class marketing team, please get in touch with us in the link below in the description. We'll see you next time.